Hello and welcome everyone to this Friday's edition of the VZWBuzz chat recap. Today we talk all about productivity, productivity tools, technology, apps, and also just general ideas on how we can be more productive overall, because I don't really know anyone that does not want to be more productive. And today I'm thrilled to welcome Robyn Wright from St. Louis, Missouri. How are you, Robyn?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Doing great. It's always great to see you on a Friday too. Today we're going to give away, as you know, this amazing Droid Turbo. It's um, it's a brand new device from Motorola, and it is exclusively on the Verizon network. And I think, Robyn, you've been playing with the Droid Turbo for a little while too. What do you think?
I have. This is mine. I have the red one. And I've been using this for several weeks now, and it really is a great phone. It's an Android-based phone, very responsive. It has a lot of hand gestures. It knows when you're looking at it. I really have been quite impressed with it, and it takes very good pictures, too.
It's also a great battery life, right?
Excellent battery life.
It's like
Yeah, I'm amazed at how long the battery lasts, even with a lot of usage on it. And then it has the power charger. So when you're down below like 20-15% power, you plug it into the power charger, and in 15 minutes you go back up to like 85% full power. It's a really quick charge when you're low, so it's a nice feature to have.
Yeah, it's one of those great devices too. It has a great Kevlar back, so if you're lucky enough to win it, it's also super safe. It's not going to slip out of your hands so easily. I found out as I almost dropped it the other day. I dropped one, but I didn't drop the droid, so it was great.
I did
Um,
drop mine,
oh, you
and
did?
I did. I walked out my front door and I dropped it down the steps of the deck. It bounced, doop, 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 looked like a little slinky going down, and then it landed in a most unfortunate place, which was from a spot my new dog had christened. And it survived and cleaned up very well afterwards, and there was no cracks, no breaks, anything like that.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. I think smartphones in general, this last generation, this past year, all of the phones that I've had the opportunity to play with, courtesy of Verizon, have actually been pretty sturdy. I haven't broken anything. Nothing has been chipped. So, knock on wood. I think they're better made.
I agree.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the main points that we wanted to get across regarding productivity for people. There are some tech advice, and then there's some just general advice. You know, I was recently reading a report on how unproductive email can make us, right? It's just so tempting to see if we've gotten a reply to something or if something else came in. It's one of those things that we tend to go to all the time, and it's a productivity, it's a time suck. This report indicated that we really should only be checking email 3 times a day even. I don't think I could do that personally, but certainly try to limit yourself to check an email, especially if you're involved in doing important tasks that you know you want to get done, right? Would you agree with that, or how do you handle your email?
I'm not the greatest at handling email, to be honest. I have several thousand backed up that I haven't even looked at all times. I'm trying to do better, and like you said, not check it as often. And when I am going to actually sit down and read it, do something with it. Either reply to it, delete it, or if I need to save it for some reason, I kind of file it. I use a lot of folders in Outlook. So I try to make an instant decision what I need to do with that instead of just letting it sit there and say, I'll get back to it, because then I don't.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. There's a rule to paper, as you all know, is touch it once, right? So when you use it, when you look at it, you make a decision right away whether you need to save it, you won't need to save it and get rid of it, or actually do something with it right away, forward it. And so the same rules should apply to email. And I recently changed my computer, so I used that opportunity to start from zero, and I have nothing on my inbox that's pending right now. Of course, it's only January the 16th. let's see, let's see how it all looks on January the 31st, shall
If,
we? And see how
yeah,
I'm
if that
doing.
works for you, you're going to have to give me some lessons on that.
Yes. What other tips, just generally, before we get into technology, do you have for productivity purposes?
I think one of the most important things is that we have to learn habits. Whatever tools, techniques, devices that we want to use to help us be more productive, it's not that item alone that is going to be more productive for you. You have to use it. Just like we talk about activity trackers, you have to use it in order for it to work for you. And the same thing applies with anything to do with productivity. There's a lot of different numbers. 30 days is an average that I hear a lot about how long it takes us to learn a new habit. And willpower is not part of this equation. It really isn't willpower to do it every day. It's taking the time to learn the habit. So schedule yourself the time to do it, to learn that habit, and then you become more productive with those tools that you have. So that's one of my
Yeah.
biggest things.
I think it's true about habits, although one of the things that I find with productivity is that when you wake up in the morning, regardless of whether you're a night person or a morning person, if you set out a list, just a small, 4 or 5 key things that you want to get done that day, before you look at email, before you check Twitter or Facebook, right after you send the kids off to school, if they're home, or whatever it is that you do in the morning routine, it's really a great exercise because I sometimes do it in the back of the newspaper. Those 5 things, if you get them done at the end of the day, they allow you to feel accomplished, and then you got some routine going. It's a very fulfilling sentiment when you got stuff done that you set out to do in the morning.
I agree. So for me, sometimes it's, especially like to get a blog post up. And a lot of times at dinner, we sit down and we talk about good things about our day. And I'll say, I've got my blog post done already for the day. And everybody knows that that's a successful day for me, that I've already gotten it done before dinner even. So I agree with you. Making that a priority of those really important things can be very helpful and make you feel fulfilled at the end of the day when you can mark all of those off.
Yeah, the other thing that I want to touch on later, perhaps you and I can do this demo together, is how you can use your home PC to actually automate some of the things or keep some of the things that you're constantly looking for. Raise your hand if you're always looking for kids' records like vaccines or the last physical or, I don't know, the honor certificate from last year, grades, report cards. If you take a picture of them, you put them on your PC, you'll always have them in the same place, for example. I know that I'm guilty of that. The other thing you can do is obviously keep your calendars together. So we're going to do a couple scenarios. I know Robyn would be great because she's a big PC fan, and you'll know even more tips. But we should talk about how to really put the PC at the center of getting the house organized, Mac, PC, whatever you use, because I know there's a lot of ways in which we could help automate some of the things and actually save us some time, wouldn't you think?
Yes, totally. And we have done family-related intranets at our house. We've done, shared calendars. There's different services like Cozy and things like that that help everybody to see everything. And you can share within the cloud services, between people. So many ways to share the information with your family, and everybody gets to see everything. We all used to have the big calendar in the kitchen. Some of us still do, but sometimes we're not in the kitchen, so we need it someplace else. So technology allows us all to kind of have that big family calendar and, to-do lists and everything with us on any of our devices, our kids, our spouses, everybody.
Yeah, I see here, Ayana Pendergrass just pointed out too, like you don't have kids, but you're always looking for prescriptions. There's always those things that you're always looking for. And if you learn to do 2 things, when you get a prescription, take a picture of it and then learn to put it on the cloud. So right from your phone, when you take the picture, you can upload that to, say, a Dropbox folder, learn what Dropbox is, perhaps, because it's probably one of the easiest, and then it's there. So whether you need it to access from your computer, from your phone, from a tablet, from a remote device, you have access to those things. And those are some of the tips that we will have for you even more of when we talk about the PC. Right now, we're going to talk a little bit more about mobile tools for productivity's sake. So tell me some of those that you have found, some good apps, some useful tips that we could use our mobile devices for productivity.
Okay, so the first we've been talking about the cloud. If you do have a mobile device, whatever cloud service you use, put the app for that on your mobile device, your phones, your tablets, everything, because that allows you to access it from everywhere. The other thing is whatever calendar service you use, really incorporate it into your device too. Google Calendars is a great way. You can actually make multiple calendars that for different things. So you can have a personal calendar, a kid's schedule, a work calendar, all of those things combined, and view them all together or separately, and share those items or not share those items. And it's a really great tool. Outlook is what I use for everything, and I have it even on your Android devices. There's actually a beta of Outlook Web Access, I think it's called, OWA. And I use that on my Android devices very successfully. I've been very impressed with it. And then there's to-do list and task organizers, and I mentioned some of them. I'm looking for my list of the ones that I said. If this, then that is another great tool, and it's abbreviated IFTTT most of the time. And you make these recipes, and so I can say every time I send a picture out on Twitter, send a copy of it to my OneDrive cloud. And so I have everything right there, or links, or just any recipe you can imagine. And it works with so many services and devices. So that's a great place to start.
Yeah, I think that don't go too fast on those,
Okay,
because
sorry.
tend to speak a little like you're talking to me, which is the least savvy of all. So we'll talk about the IFTTT. So if this, then that, which is really just a way for you to use your device and automate certain steps that will happen so that you don't have to do them. And
Right.
so I don't know, something as simple as on your email, if you get an email from Twitter, it automatically goes to a folder. And so that's an example, a little bit of if this, then that, IFTTT. That doesn't mean you have to learn what it means or how it came about, but every device will have a way for you to automate certain tips,
Right. And
certain things.
on the If This
Go ahead.
That website, there's they call it recipes, and those are, if this happens, then do this. And so there's thousands of them already on their website, so you don't have to create things from scratch. You can see that someone else is already using two tools that you use, and you go, I want to be able to do that, and you just kind of click and click, and it's very simple to do. So, I mean, it's a great way to start out, is using the recipes that are already there.
That are there. Yeah, let's share that link to the if this then that tool. Also calendaring. I think that learning to use your calendars and the reminders, they have been so useful at keeping me on time. As a Mexican, I can tell you, I tend to always give it a little 10 extra minutes. I can say that. But with the reminders apps that I have, I use Clear on the iPhone. For example, it allows me to just gives me a 15-minute warning when something is due. So something as simple as reminders on your calendars can also be super, super useful. Robyn, are you a big to-do list person?
Sort of, in that I put my to-do list on my Outlook calendar. That's what works best for me. There's a lot of to-do list apps out there that I think are great too, but for me, I like it all in one spot. So I add all of my to-do lists for a day, or I'll go on my calendar, and I set up reminders, and it pops up not only on my computer, but on all of my devices, because I have all of my Outlook on all of my devices. So it doesn't matter where I'm in. There's things dinging at me saying, do this, do this, do this.
Yeah, so true. Reese from Reese's Sums, Reese, is asking what are your favorite ways to automate tasks using that site. So I'm going to let you reply to her, and also if you want to share a couple of tweets on what are some of the things that you do maybe later on,
Okay.
because there's a lot of great examples of what you can do. But for the most part, I think You want to use your device, you want to learn more features about your device. Learning more features about it will also help you be more productive because you'll learn how to use perhaps Google Voice or Siri or Cortana in the case of Windows phones, for example. What are the ways in which those voice activated commands can help you speed things up, right? Sometimes I don't have time to look for the phone number and then dial the phone number. If I can just say, this is who I need to call, and then be connected directly. So take advantage of the Verizon Wireless workshops that take place at the stores, because learning about your device will also help you be more productive.
Right, and I know that
Let me have your final parting tips so that we can give away this Droid Turbo.
Okay, final tip on being organized is actually taking time for yourself too. If you schedule too many things on your to-do list and your task list, and you're always looking at your phone or your tablet, you lose sight of life, and that makes you unhappy. And you have to take the time to breathe, step away, turn off the devices, and have that downtime and family time and just personal time, so that when you do go back to work, you have that sense of joy and fulfillment in your life, and it makes you more productive when you actually are working too.
Yeah, I make a habit of always doing at least one favorite thing that I know I have to do for myself, for my family, maybe plan a trip or start looking at some of the things that I know I need to get done for my scrapbook. I try to do one of those things that are really important to me right in the middle of the day. And so that, you're right, that does help me, stay motivated, and at the end of the day, I feel like I have some balance from the things that are important to me, but also from the things that I have to get done. So now we're going to get to the giveaway of this device, and we're going to be reminding you of the chat that takes place next week. And for those of you that have joined us at 3 p.m., as you know, please send us any ideas that you think would be important for us to cover on these chats. As you know, we'll talk about photography, and we'll talk about music and entertainment. Obviously, today we talked about productivity. But if you have, if you have some ideas on things that you'd like to know, let us know. We'd love to hear them, and then we'd love to make a chat about it so that you guys can learn. Next week's chat is all about managing your online profile, not only for us, but also for our children, for our parents, seniors, cousins, anybody that really is around us could benefit from managing an online profile, our online profile. So we're talking about a very important subject next week. So I'm going to be giving away this device. Robyn, when you think about next week's topics, what is the first thing that comes to mind?
Once it's out there forever. I don't care if you think it's private or not. If you put it online, just assume it's out there for everyone to see forever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
There's no
Sadly,
back.
that is so true, isn't it? There's nothing that you can keep. It's going to be out there no matter what. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and how to deal with it. Today's winner of the Droid Turbo, this beauty, is Too Much for NE. Too Much for Anyone. And your name is Rachel Luter. So congratulations to Rachel on your device win, and we will be seeking out your shipping information via direct message from Misty, and we'll ship this to you next week. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. It was great to have you, Robyn. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. You too. I'll see you guys all next week.
Yes, we'll see you all next week. Thanks again.